All right, I'm just going to press record. That's exciting, isn't it? It's all happening now.
Hi, I'm Elizabeth Flux.
I'm Ben McKenzie.
Welcome to Pratchat, the monthly Terry Pratchett Book Club podcast.
Each month, we discuss one of Terry Pratchett's books or short stories with a special guest.
This month, we're sort of doing that, but with a twist.
Yes, because this month we're recording live at the Australian Discworld Convention, Nullus Anxietas 10!
So for our third ever live show, we're reading Tiffany Aching's Guide to Being a Witch, or Lettuce Earwig's Surprising Redemption Arc.
And our guests are a room full of Terry Pratchett fans! Yes, in front of the mics, it's just me and Liz for this special live episode. What a joy to be back at Nullus Anxietas for our,
fourth one.
4 and a bit one, I guess, because there was a few there where it was kind of 3 cons and 1. It was good. It was a good outcome. But yeah, we're here. It's exciting.
Our third IRL one.
Yeah. And we're here to talk about a great book. Now, before we get into it too much, for you listener at home and also for you in the room with us right now, the book we're going to discuss today does have slight spoilers for The Shepherd's Crown, because technically it is set after that book. So if anybody is really allergic to those and doesn't want to know anything, including one of the big things that does happen quite near the start, you can come back in about 5-10 minutes and we won't have said any more about it. And if you're listening to this on the podcast, you can skip ahead to about 6 minutes and 15 seconds and you won't have to listen to those spoilers either.
And for the record, if you are staying and you haven't read it, we have not read The Shepherd's Crown either because we're saving it for the end.
No, but I have absolutely spoiled myself.
Oh, we know what the spoiler is.
For the safety of all of you.
Yeah. So solidarity is
so
what
I know.
I'm saying.
Yeah, I know mostly what happens in it. Certainly I know about that.
We've certainly created a patchwork image of it, and it's going to be interesting to see if that is accurate.
Yes. Yes. But I think we should get into it, Liz, because it's quite an extraordinary book with a lot of things to say about it. So shall we begin, as we usually do, with a reading of the blurb?
I think we should.
Okay.
I think you should do it.
Okay.
Okay.
All right, I will. Good, I was going to.
Okay.
This beautiful and practical guide has been compiled by Tiffany Aching herself, including snippets of remembered wisdom from Granny Aching, alongside notes from Granny Weatherwax, Nanny Og, Miss Tick, and Rob Anybody, who offer their own unique perspectives on all things witchcraft. Whether you're a herbologist or a headologist, this book will inspire and empower new witches and seasoned practitioners alike. The wisdom of Tiffany Aching and some of Discworld's most revered witches is brought to Roundworld readers through writers Rhianna Pratchett and Gabrielle Kent. With colourful illustrations from Paul Kidby throughout, this brilliant in-world guide is the perfect addition to any Discworld collection. I feel like now I'm doing an ad for late night marketing television. Also, have you seen this set of crystal elephants?
It is sponsored by Boffos. Like it's
true.
Canonically sponsored by Boffos in the middle.
That's true. What an amazing book. I mean, I don't know about you in the room or you listening at home, but when I heard that this book was going to be a thing, it was very exciting because it was the first new original fictional work about the Discworld that was announced after Terry's passing. That was a big moment. And I think we all kind of figured that it would never happen because Rhianna was quite clear that she wasn't going to be writing any more novels. But this isn't a novel, it's something else. How would we describe it, Liz?
So it is a handbook, but that is also a nice sort of homage is not quite the right word, but to the books that came before it. But it isn't a copy paste of like quotes or little snippets or scenes or everything. It's inhabiting the characters that you've met before, taking some things that have happened, but then seeing like the spaces in between. And I I mean, I viewed it with an aura of suspicion, as I do with all new things. I was like, how are they going to pull this off? Am I going to like it? Am I going to hate it? Am I going to wish it didn't exist? And I am so glad it does exist, because I think they've inhabited these characters really well. And I also think they tackled some of the trickier aspects of putting a handbook like this together in a way that is accessible to readers, that you would actually want to read it. But it does pull off its premise, which is that if you were a young witch who lived in this world, it would actually probably be quite helpful to you. And they handle the tricky chronology well with a bit of a sneaky, it was written over the course of a few years.
Yes. So this is the part where we will have some slight spoilers for The Shepherd's Crown, because this book is set after The Shepherd's Crown. And we know that because there is a dedication in the book. Well,
so this is where the spoiler comes in.
Yeah, there's a note in it that says, I'm trying to find where it is now. It's a note from Granny Weatherwax. Yeah, it's one of the notes from her, which starts with the words, "If you're reading this, I am most likely dead," which is a little hint as to what happens in The Shepherd's Crown, although it's not really what the plot is about. So I feel like it's sort of a spoiler of what happens in the advancement of the Discworld as a whole, but it's not really. It is important to the plot of that book, but it's not what that book is about necessarily.
But it also is very helpfully pinned over the top of a Nanny Og note,
yes.
And it is covering some of the more presumably salacious things that she's written in her letter, which is both I don't know if you looked at it and tried to discern what was being said, but
I tried.
It was very promising.
I tried pretty hard. There's a few bits in this book where it's like, I really wish I knew because sometimes you write the things. Like, I don't know if you've ever written anything like this where you've done this sort of artifact. Sometimes you do write the whole thing.
Oh, I thought you meant like if I'd ever written a salacious letter involving prawns.
Have you ever written a salacious poem?
Involving prawns? No.
No? Oh.
I assume vol au vents, but
but sometimes you write the whole thing and then you cover it up, and sometimes you don't write the whole thing. And it doesn't matter because the audience is never going to see it, and so those are both valid approaches. It's kind of like when you're speaking in the background of a scene and nobody can hear what you're saying, whether or not you say rhubarb, 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 or whether you actually make up some improvised dialogue.
It's true. Lots of us have spent a lot of time in the background of films and movies and plays, and that is a
very relatable
experience.
Yeah. Okay, thanks, Liz. Your input is valued. But I think it also continues the tradition started. I think the first book to do it was Nanny Og's cookbook, of having all of these little annotations. And I love that it's kind of presented as if this isn't. What you're reading is not the final book itself. It's the proof of the book with all of these notes from these other people pinned in their own handwriting or scribbled around the margins, which is, I don't know, it's just really I love that kind of stuff.
Yeah, no, that was it's a beautiful book. Without it, it would have been great, but with all the little notes, it just takes it up a huge notch because you see the little fights and conversations, and Nanny Og doesn't let any opportunity for a reference go by, and Granny Weatherwax does not take any opportunity to hit back at that either.
Yeah.
Does not miss any opportunity.
Yeah, and I kind of like the way they set up a bit of a hierarchy as well, in that, Nanny and Granny have their usual kind of nonsense going on. But the note from Lettuce Earwig, which
call her by her name,
okay,
Earwig.
Yeah, Earwig, yeah, okay. But the note from her that appears early on is like, well, there's something must have gone wrong. I didn't receive my copy of the proof in the post in order to give my input, but I'm going to have it now. I've managed to get my hands on a copy, so here's mine. And her notes are on this beautiful purple paper with a little letterhead and stars
and pins.
Oh. Delightful. Oh yeah, the pin has got a little star on it and everything. It's just such a great attention to detail in this book. Yeah.
And also we got some Fiegel input as well.
Oh yeah. Rob Anybody's notes, which are surprisingly well spelled. I was but very blotty. I guess it's hard to write when the pen is bigger than you are.
Or being wrestled away from you while you're trying to write with it.
Yeah, that's probably also happening. It's quite long as well. I was really impressed at how much stuff they put in the book. Like there's so many chapters. I think I've got a note here. There's 17 chapters, and they basically try to cover everything that we know about being a witch on the Discworld, that is covered in all of the novels. So I think it's pretty comprehensive.
It even has a whole section on hats.
Yeah. Well, it would have to. How could you have a book about witchcraft and not have a section on hats?
Yeah, plus ads for hats as well that you can purchase yourself.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. Well, shall we step through a few of the sections and point out a few of our favourite bits as we go?
That sounds good.
This is going to be all right. I'm excited about this because I also have some questions as we go along for you, Liz. But I think the introduction is nice. I think that they really Rand and Gabriel made a really lovely choice to have Tiffany be very self-aware of what she was doing. Like, it's not like someone forced her to do this, but she's made the choice to write this book, and also to realize that this is not how witchcraft is normally done. Like, you don't normally write it down in a book. It's something you learn out on, in the field, on a steading from an apprenticeship with an older witch. And so she's like, oh, yeah, you're reading a book that I wrote. That's weird, isn't it? It's kind of her attitude, which I think is perfect for her.
Yeah, and I also like the little tiny font, because she's like very mature. She's giving helpful information, having like gone through all of her life's experience, but she's still got a lot of anger towards anagramma, and I respect that.
Hold on to it. It'll help you get through. Yeah. Yeah, I think that's great. And there's, it's illustrated by Paul Kidby, as we mentioned. And, how do we feel about Paul Kidby in the room? He's pretty great. And I mean, well, I'm on record on the show of saying that I really enjoy when you get to see other artists' interpretations of the characters because, for me, there isn't a definitive visual. I have an idea of the characters that lives in my head that has some visual elements, and I can kind of, imagine what they look like. But I kind of prefer that primarily they are an imagined thing. But we also have, for a long time now, this very well-established idea of what most of these characters look like. And Paul's style is wonderful. Like, I do really enjoy it. And it was really nice to see him get to draw some things that he hasn't drawn before. And the story was, as we found out, because we did a previous episode where we interviewed Rand and Gabriel when the book came out, but we didn't really get into the nitty-gritty of what was in the book. They told us that he just kept wanting to draw more things, and he was like, can you put this in the book? What if I draw this? Can you talk about this in the book? And they had to say, Paul, stop drawing things. We've got to finish the book. Yeah.
But if I never see that picture of dinner plate Jenny Greenteeth again, that will be fine.
And there's 2 pictures of her in here.
Yeah, which is an attack.
Well, one of them looks more like a fish, and the other one kind of looks more like a different kind of fish, I suppose. I don't know.
Is that better?
I don't know. I don't know. It's not better. It's not.
I mean, she's supposed to be scary, and it succeeds, and I don't like that.
Yeah. There's some great scary stuff in here, which I think is it is a book about witches.
The drones picture is just a horrifying piece of isn't it so well done that it's just that'll stick with you when you're just like alone in your house.
I do like the drome. So we all
you like them drome. As in you think they're good and nice?
They're delightful. Yeah. I would like one as a pet. No, but I like the picture of the drome. I think I slightly prefer the Stephen Player's version of the dromes from the illustrated We Free Men, which if you've never seen it, it's a beautiful book. It's really worth getting your hands on or just having a look. If you look up Stephen Player's website, he's got quite a lot of the images from it on there because the book is out of print now. But it's I find his dromes even more unsettling than the one in this book. They kind of remind me of Vogons a little bit, actually. The Stephen Player ones, but this one's pretty good.
I've just found that second picture of Jenny Greenteeth you're talking about, and it really looks like you just busted her having a shower.
Yeah. She's like, I was just putting the weeds back in my hair. Leave me alone. Yeah. Yeah, but it's kind of broken up by subject. So I feel like, you were saying it would be a good book for witches on the Discworld. I kind of feel like it's kind of a good book for witches on Roundworld as well. Like, I learned a lot about witchcraft reading it. I don't feel like I'm a witch now, just to be clear. I didn't, send off for a subscription. Now I've got the pointy hat and everything. But I don't know. I think it's the witch attitude to life is so applicable to, our lives on Roundworld that I feel like it's, I would like a lot of young people to read this book. I feel like their lives will be better off.
Yeah, it has a lot of really good insights and advice more broadly about it. And I think if you read it, you'd know what you're getting yourself into more than, say, Tiffany did when she first started doing her things. But because I've got a question for you that I don't know how it's going to go.
Okay,
it's
sure.
like,
hit me.
Having read this, would you want to be a witch after knowing all the insights of what it involves, the sacrifices, the realities of it, with everything it says in this book? Would you want that?
I feel like if I already wanted to be a witch, this would not change my mind. Because I feel like, she talks about this in the book, and at the end, the last chapter is called The Journey, and it's about how you never stop becoming a witch, really. And I feel like if you are called to something that is helping people, connecting with people, creating a community, I'm looking very insightfully at members of the committee and who are here. But I feel like you feel like that's something you've got to do. I think there's a lot of things in life that people feel that way about. I mean, I think the one I have done the most that probably is like that is teaching is like that. I think a little bit like it's certainly you don't do it for any other reason. You don't do it for the money or the appreciation because neither of them are really there. But you feel like what you're doing is worthwhile, and I think that is the way that witchery or witchcraft is presented in Discworld.
Yeah, I think it's just, you see how much that Tiffany has to take on as a person of the pains of the people in her community. So it is a big ask. Like, I think there are lots of ways to serve community and to be a helpful member of it. And this is such a specific one. Yeah. Yes, I think she's primed to do it from a young age because of the role she already plays in her family. And I feel like in some ways this is an extension of what she does there. But it does, to me, mean a lot of sacrifice and taking on, like, because they even like on a small level when they do things like transference, like you have to take on some of that in the middle, like to do it. Like it takes a very specific kind of person to be able to do that and continue living a life that is not diminished because of it, because you can like compartmentalize or
be swallowed up by the role. Yeah.
And it's a vocation, as you say. So I don't like, it's not for everyone, but it's,
Yeah. But I think that attitude comes through in the way that Tiffany writes the book. Like one of the first quotes that I highlighted when I was reading it was, "This isn't really my book. It is our book. As for the school, it's not a place. It's all places. Look around you. You're already there." And I think, she's acknowledging that it doesn't matter if you read this book or not. Probably the fact that you've decided to means you're already on the path to being a witch. So yeah, I think that kind of ties into what you're saying. Yeah. I mean, it starts incredibly strongly and then it pretty much nails it. I think it's just because I had the same worries as you. Like whenever you see a book that is not really new stuff because you don't really have permission to, or you don't want to, it doesn't feel appropriate to make new things. You worry then, well, it's just going to feel like a retread, but this doesn't really feel like that. I think they do a great job of putting it in there and and recontextualizing it so that it makes sense, because we're now seeing a lot of things that we know about witchery from the books through Tiffany's eyes, even the things that we learned about in the novels through Granny and Nanny and Magrat and the other witches. Yeah. So it's good.
I got another deep question for you.
Oh no. Okay. Early on in the podcast for this, but go on.
Yes.
Yep.
So, which hat would you choose if you had to choose one of them?
Oh God. What page is the hats on?
48.
I'm going to have a look. Now this is it's an incredibly visual podcast.
Yes. So just imagine hats.
So I'm not going to show you the hats because then I would,
just describe the hat.
I'd be abrogating my duty to the listening audience. But the hats are incredible because they have all these different shapes. I remember this now. I have there's one called the Rune Slinger, which is it's the closest thing to a cowboy hat, witch hat. And it has the pointy bit, but the pointy bit sort of curls around on itself. Looks a bit like something out of, The Nightmare Before Christmas, actually. But then it's got kind of, it looks to me like it's probably a leather hat, and it's got like this sort of runes around the top of or the bottom base of the point. I feel like if I had that, I'd have to have like 2 wands in holsters or something, like that's pretty great. I like that one. Or the Cloudburster, which is the really tall, slightly crooked one that has goggles. Yeah. I like those. I think those are my favorites.
Yeah.
How about you?
I mean, you took my favorite, so I'm going to have to choose a different one.
No, you can have the same favorite.
No, I reckon I'm going to have the Crystal Gazer, because if Paul Hogan were to be a witch, he'd probably have that hat and a knife.
It's got little crystals around that look like they're like crocodile's teeth or bullets or something. Yeah.
Yeah. I guess for non-Australian listeners who don't know Crocodile Dundee, you should.
Well, I feel like look, we're going to have to introduce, like, there's a whole crowd of mostly Australians here. If I said, that's not a knife, what would you say? That's not a knife. There we go.
Yeah, see, we're
so,
good.
you know, if you don't know what that means, you're lost. That's fine. There'll be a note about it in the episode notes. Don't worry.
It'll just be a link to buy the movie on DVD.
No,
But
we're not being paid by the Australian Marketing Board of the 1980s.
that's true, and I haven't rewatched it recently, so they could hold up terribly.
Yeah.
I mean,
yes.
there's bits that hold up terribly.
There's some bits that are great, but yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay. All right. Well, you're moving us through the book quite quickly, I feel, with your
I feel like I'm
questions.
ping-ponging through the book, so where would you like to go next?
That's all right. I mean, look, there's so many good gags. I think the other thing that I think helps make this book work is that if you wrote a book like this about a lot of series of novels, it would feel a bit kind of pointless. But I think one of the things that really helps this work is Pratchett himself was always reiterating his own jokes and trying out different ways to tell the same joke, even though it was basically the same, but it would be slightly different. You enjoy that. And I think so we're already primed to enjoy essentially new versions of the same jokes we've already read 10 times before. And I think that really helps this work. And there's also some cracking gags in this. I'm just looking this up so I can read it out. There's one about, there's a line in the book, someone to whom virtue comes easily was obviously an excellent teacher, which is like a misunderstanding of what woman of easy virtue means.
Yes.
Which I thought, which isn't explained except for a little note from Granny Weatherwax that just says, ha! Which I thought was delightful. Yeah.
I actually liked the reminders of things that I'd forgotten from other books, which is Miss Tick's book that she has written to the witch. Miss Tick has written the book for witch finders that's full of like how to deal with a witch. You got to give her this specific kind of delicious soup. You got to put her into a comfortable hut with some cushions. Definitely don't give her tomatoes. That'll make her too powerful. And you absolutely should throw her in a pond. No other methods will work.
That's right.
Which I just thought was an absolute delight.
Yeah.
The first time I read it, forgot it, and then here it is again.
I was just thinking, I remember what you were saying about Tiffany hanging on to her anger at Anagramma. There's another bit in here where Tiffany's talking about how witches refer to each other as sisters. And she basically says, that's a very apt metaphor. I've got sisters. I know how that works. So I thought that was pretty funny as well. There's lots of great little gags in here. There's so many good pictures. I mean, look, I think if you've listened to the podcast, you know this already. But if you don't know, I think Petulia Gristle is the greatest witch who ever lived. She's my favorite, and she's in this book a lot. Like there's a picture of the whole coven, including Petulia.
Is it the whole coven?
Well, no, Anagramma's not there, and good riddance to it. No, but there's a note about why she's not there. Which I thought was funny. Yeah, I asked to everyone to make sure to tell Anagramma the date that they were supposed to pose for Mr. Kidby, but it appears every single one of them forgot. Which, hilarious. Yeah, but no, they're great. The coven they're great. What a great group of witches.
But was there something particular about Petulia that's mentioned in this book that you would like to highlight?
Oh, yeah. There's a great bit. Hang on, let me find this. There's the sausage. There's the whole pig trick thing.
I think it's in the shambles section.
But the bit that I really like, hang on, I've got a note about this. Here we go. Page 83. I'll mention the page number. I heard pages turn. Is someone in the audience following along? Now I feel like I say, when you hear the noise, turn the page. But there's a bit in here about her having...
It's page 84, actually.
Page 84, yeah. Yeah, she's got... given the unpredictable nature of a witch's life, I find this to be a little cruel, because you have to have a living thing when you make a shamble. And for those of you... Does everyone remember what a shamble is? Yeah, so when you make a shamble, you make it out of whatever you've got, but there must be something living as part of it. And we've seen witches use things like an egg or an earthworm or something.
Or a feagle.
Yeah. They survived the experience. But Tiffany talks about finding that a little cruel. But Petulia has a portable snail hotel, which is a quite luxurious, roomy and lettuce-lined purse. Although unlikely to catch on as a must-have fashion item outside the witch world. And I just if I wasn't already you're my favorite. Now I am. You carry around a little hotel for snails. Which reminds me of this great old joke that Joanne used to tell, which is that he came home one day and there was snails in his letterbox eating his mail, and he just said, "No, stupid, lettuce." just one of the greatest pun jokes of all time. Really appreciated that one. Anyway, yeah, so I love the Snail Hotel. I think that's one of my absolute favorite things. And it's cheeky too. I think the other thing, you could tell that people who've worked on children's books and are influenced by Terry Pratchett wrote this, because there's lots of slightly naughty little things in here that children maybe shouldn't be exposed to, but we're going to expose them to them anyway. Like the scratched out note about the pig trick.
Oh, yeah.
Because Petulia Gristle's pig trick, which is never really explained what it is.
Yeah, what do you think it is?
Story. Maybe that's a good question for the audience. When you write down questions in the break, what do you think Petulia's pig trick was, without referring to the image in the book, which kind of tells us what maybe it is. Although it does say it's rather less distressing than the real thing. So who knows? Yeah, that's quite distressing. But then there's the note that Nanny writes where she says, "Oh, this sausage that's been transformed to look like a pig reminds me of something." And then someone's judiciously scratched it out so it's impossible to read, which is probably for the best. And in fact, the note from Granny just says, "Absolutely not." Underlined. Great stuff. Yeah. What other favorite bits we got? We're just doing favorite bits now, but I think it gives you a real vibe for the book.
I think I would hate to ride a broomstick.
Yeah.
Based on the information here and just the vibe of it. Like, it just seems like a terrible time.
Yeah. I think it's
like the opposite of a favorite bit.
Yeah. Well, I mean, they can't be comfortable, right?
Oh, I love the illustration of, explaining why you can't be turning people into frogs. Not because of ethics, but because of conservation of matter.
Right.
Yes.
Yeah.
So it's
Yeah, which recalls that horrifying scene with Brian. Yes. Oh my God. I don't have nightmares about that, but I'm constantly amazed that I don't because it's such a horrifying image.
Maybe today.
Maybe I will. Maybe tonight's the night.
Dare to dream.
I do dare to dream. Yes.
We could talk about lettuce earwigs actually like being quite helpful in here.
That's true. So you had a thought about this, but this is also informed by something Rhianna Pratchett said.
So when I was going through this, I don't like lettuce earwig and I don't like anagram because I'm clearly like influenced by the protagonist and also by their terrible energy and personalities.
And behavior.
Behavior. I just feel like personality informs behavior, so it's all part of the same thing. But in this one, I think lettuce earwig comes across quite well. That's something I thought when I was rereading it and when I read it the first time. And I felt kind of bad for her being cut out of this process and sort of sad that she had to insert herself into here because she's actually making quite good points. So last night at the conference, they were both doing a conversation about this book, and I asked if the experience of writing this and inhabiting these characters changed their minds on how they felt about any of these witches. And Gabrielle said that it did change her mind on lettuce earwig, who did actually pull Tiffany up on a few things because she does actually enhance the knowledge in here because like some things like are incorrect, some things are not fully realized. So for example, she says that Esk is the first female sorcerer, which is something she points out is not the case.
Yeah, there have been female wizards in Kroll for centuries. Yeah,
exactly.
Yeah.
So,
it's a deep cut, by the way. I think that's the other thing I love about this book is they tried not to leave anything out.
Yeah.
Because I think if some people won't have read all of, like, if you only read the Tiffany Aching books, there's a whole bunch of stuff in here that's going to be brand new to you. That'd be a wild experience. Has anyone here, like, not read all of the Discworld novels? There's no shame in that. Like, I have to put my hand up. I haven't read all of the Shepherd's Crown. I think if you had just read the Tiffany books and you came to this, you'd be like, what is this stuff? What is going on? This world's so much bigger than I thought.
Yeah, I mean,
so amazing.
I can relate to that. The first Discworld book that I read was The Fifth Elephant.
Yes.
The Fifth Element, also a great movie. It's completely different.
Yeah. Hasn't stood up to time as well as The Fifth Elephant, I would say, but it's still good.
That fight scene is still great, though.
The fight scene's amazing. Yeah.
I mean,
in The Fifth Elephant, you mean? Yes, the fight scene is...
No, in The Fifth Element.
No, I know. We're getting hopelessly confused here. Let's get back on track.
All right.
But you think she really redeems herself in this book?
Look, no.
No. Oh, okay. Right.
But I think she's significantly better than I originally thought she was. So I feel like there's room, like, maybe in time I'd completely come around. But
okay.
Yeah, because originally I was like, oh, is this the same character? And I'm like, oh, it is the same character. It's just a different facet of her in a different context. So, yeah.
Yeah. I'll pay that. And I think, it helps that she gets to, she's only there under her own steam. Like, the only thing we get of her in this book, apart from a couple of little mentions here and there from Tiffany, is what she wants to say about what the book is about. And she does seem, because when you listen to the way that she's supposedly teaching the other witches in the books, she sounds awful. Like she's going to ruin witchcraft forever. But here you get a sense that, all right, well, maybe she's going about it in a bit of a weird way, but her heart is in the right place. Yeah,
because she does come across snooty and appearance above all, but I feel like in this you get a sense of a bit of loneliness. I don't know if I'm just sort of inserting that around the edges of it, but if you think about her character where her husband is a former wizard, and she's a witch that doesn't really have friends, they probably both were quite shunned in both their communities and only really have each other. So it is possibly just armor that she's putting up. And to be shunned from this book as well probably is another facet of that. So again, maybe I'm reading too much into it, but I felt a lot more sympathy for her, and I actually put a little bit more thought into why she might be the way that she is. And then I read that horrifying note that gives a bit too much insight into her marital relations, and I was like, maybe not.
Yeah, that's yeah. I don't know about Mr. Earwig, if that is his real name. I don't know why I said that. What am I implying? I don't know. But yeah, there's everyone.
It's like Scooby-Doo. He's going to pull off his mask and he's like,
"It was me. I was a thing from the dungeon dimensions all along." There's a great picture of one of those in this book, but that'll give you nightmares.
Yeah,
as
no,
well.
thank you.
Yeah, no, but everybody gets lots of moments to shine in this. It's hard not to really focus on the annotations because they're so much fun. I will say some of them feel like they've maybe stepped outside. Well, I wouldn't say they've stepped out of character in order to make a joke, but I think that they do make jokes that are like, oh, the character's not making this joke, but you are, and it's just plausible enough that the character would say this to make it. Like, for example, when they start talking about the way that witch magic works, there's a little note from Granny Weatherwax about how wizards' magic works when they're throwing like fireballs around just to see what happens. And she says, wizards, always hexperimenting. And I'm like, that's quite a good pun. I don't think that Granny would say that on purpose.
No.
But it is funny. And I think that they push it a little bit to get a few extra gags in, but not too much, I think.
But she was transcribed because she doesn't hold with writing, so maybe someone did that to her.
Maybe she was just saying experimenting. Yeah, I don't know, but I enjoyed that. What other favorite bits have we got?
I liked being reminded of research witches.
Oh yeah, my favorite kind of witch. Yeah, that was fun.
Yeah, I don't have anything to follow it up with. I liked that, and I wanted you to know.
Yeah, yeah. I look again. I was talking about how there's naughty little bits in here. I'm trying to find where this is on my. I just saw the note here, but there is a little illustration of like a gnome in the corner of a page just pissing on something, and I'm like, in a children's book. I'm like, yes, in a children's book, the kids would go crazy for that.
Yeah, it's a whole world of
hilarious.
Like
So that was fun. Oh, most of the time, I think it does such a good job of everything, but I think also where maybe I have questions, they're questions that I would have had for Terry as well. Like there's a bit where Nanny Og there's a gag when they're talking about Anoia, when Nanny Og says, oh yeah, I've prayed to her lots of times to unstick many a zip for me in a passionate moment. And I'm like, how long has the Discworld had zippers? Like what do you, it's a slight stretch to have a kitchen drawer full of utensils, because that's not really a thing that matches up with the time frame of how we think about the Discworld. But we've always been able to fudge that kind of stuff because it feels so real to us. It feels like our world. So we're not really worried about those little historical inaccuracies, right? I mean, has anyone here ever read a Discworld book and gone, Terry, that's not very historically accurate? Right? Yeah, history. Yeah, right. History monks. There's always an excuse.
Plus, if you remember 90s hit TV series Charmed, they do say that a witch invented zips.
Really? In the original one?
Yes, the original one.
Okay.
90s hit TV series.
Yeah, 90s hit TV. Sorry, you did specify. I didn't watch
the other one. Maybe it was good.
No.
I don't want to find out.
Not really. Not the start, anyway. All right. Yeah. What else do we want to say? I mean, it kind of, I mean, obviously it recounts all of Tiffany's adventures and all the creatures and situations she found herself in. Again, one of the things I love about it most is the way it revisits the rest of the Discworld canon of witches, and particularly characters who were sort of written about once and then kind of forgotten. Like the illustration of Hilda Goatfounder. Oh my God, so good. Wow, what a character design. And I love that they've taken this opportunity to go, you know, most of these witches are white.
Yeah.
in the traditional drawings of them. Maybe we could change that. Make the Discworld feel a bit more like a place where lots of people live. And I think they made some really great choices for that. And I think it really, really works.
She's one of the few that can wear a hat with fruit, isn't it?
Yes. Yeah.
I also enjoyed the illustration of Mrs. Proust. Is it Mrs. Proust?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
The city
Boffo's
witch.
head honcho. Who,
Yeah.
Do you understand the joke about the mask? Why am I wearing the mask? But
Yeah.
all right.
This is great. We're just telling you what's in a book that you either haven't read or have read.
It's just like a whole bunch of in jokes. It's great. It's like when you like go up to a table of friends and they're all like talking about the holiday that you didn't go on.
The Guide to Cackling.
Oh yeah.
Is quite extraordinary. I feel like this book is influenced not just by the novels, but by some of the other stuff as well. Like the Witcher's board game, which has such a great kind of way in the rules to represent a witch going off the rails and becoming evil, and how you prevent that, which is you stop and have a cup of tea with another witch. Oh, it's so good. But this I feel is a little bit of that in here, and there's this sort of 4 stages of cackling illustration with a witch going more and more off tap, becoming more evil. It's great. I really enjoyed that.
Well, I completely failed to find the page, but I did read it, so
That's all right.
And I know it's sort of skipped ahead with the books that we're not across, but I enjoyed the men's shed section, partly because it's also a real thing.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's interesting, isn't it? I'm because I know about that from researching The Shepherd's Crown. This is a pretty minor point from that book, so don't.
You don't have to run out the room. You're welcome to.
Yeah,
but
the glimpses I've got of the bits of that book that I maybe didn't already know just make me want to read it more. And I think anything that does that is good, because I think we've probably got people in this room right now with us who feel like, I don't want to read the last one because then it's over. But I think, as Rob Wilkins has said repeatedly, you don't write a book for it not to be read, and as somebody who's made things and they've just sort of sat there and no one's listened to them or watched them or read them, it's not what you hope for and wish for. And, if you read it, it's not over. You can read it again. It's a story exists in the reading. And I think the thing that makes it more over is if you never read it. But I'm not going to yuck anyone's yum. If that's what you need to do to keep the Discworld alive for you, then please don't not do it on my behalf. But I think that if this book encourages more people to read that last one, I'm all for it.
Yeah, and as we talked about on our Raising Steam episode, that was the one that I was reading when I found out that Terry Pratchett had died. It was I literally would read a book before bed, then put it in bed next to me. Like it was just literally in the bed. I woke up, I scrolled through my phone, and I just didn't pick up that book again until we did the episode quite recently on it. And I think that was a good amount of time for me. I'm glad I read it, but it was a weird thing that I just I completely just lost all interest in reading the rest of it, because I think it was just when the timing and the associations, but that all sort of melted away when we actually read it. So I think I don't have an answer to that, because I basically had no choice but to read it. But
that's true.
I'm glad that I was forced to.
Yeah.
On that chill light note, I would like to ask you another question, because there's a section near the end all about death.
Yes.
About how witches get the call, because they have that special arrangement where they'll find out in advance when they're going to die. And so just for a very personal question, would you want that?
Yeah, I think I would. I think I would want to know. I think about, it's going to sound morbid, I think about death a fair bit, not loads. Like, I'm not an anxious person who's worried about dying, but I do think about the realities of it. And I think that's one of Terry's great legacies, is that the way he wrote about death made it much more approachable for a lot of people. And we have, I mean, in our culture, and by which I mean sort of broader Western culture, and particularly the sort of Commonwealth culture inherited from the UK, in modern times, we have a very distant idea of death and a sort of a fear and a dismay about even talking about it that I think hinders us when it happens. And I know that whenever I've had friends who are facing death in any form, whether it's potentially themselves from an illness or a loved one who is or will die, it makes it very difficult for people to talk about it. And I think if you knew it was going to happen, for sure, you could make everybody's lives so much better and easier for that last time that you had, including your own, And I think if that was the way it were, I mean, I think it's difficult because I assume not everybody would know. That would be, I mean, that's a science fiction novel waiting to happen, I guess. But, or it probably has been written 20 times and I just haven't read it. But I think it would be, I would like to know, personally. Yeah. Yeah, I would make arrangements. Yeah.
Fair enough.
Should I ask you back or do you not want to say?
Yeah, it would be extraordinarily rude if I asked you and I was like, nah, but I'm not going to answer. In fact, I'm going to leave the room. How dare you?
Oh, no. Oh.
I would want to know as well, but I wouldn't want to know too much in advance. I feel like 24 hours to 48 hours is enough. Otherwise, you would shape too much of your life around it. Like if you lived your whole life knowing what day it would be, I think that would be a bit much to deal with. So
that's a fair point.
Yeah, get your things in order. Do what they do. Have the party and be there. I think that would be good.
I mean, look, this is in real life. A friend of mine's sister is dying, and she is having what we usually refer to as a living wake. And I was just like, great. Like, what? Who wouldn't want a chance to say goodbye? And for everybody that you know to be able to come and say goodbye, because most of the time in life we don't know. We don't get that opportunity, and that's one of the things that makes it so difficult. So yeah, I think I would. But I think it's interesting that in Terry's world, he decided that it would be just a special kind of class of people that would get that call. So it's really just wizards and witches, and occasionally, I think there's a couple of other people, but it's mostly wizards and witches now. And it feels like he always sort of rather amusingly refers to it in a way that makes it sound like a professional courtesy more than anything else. Like it's not because you were born special. It's because you do the job. So, you do the hard stuff, you get this little perk.
Also, would it be that wizards live for an extraordinarily long time compared to the average person? And so it's a bit of a different attitude, and witches will have been around it a lot more, so they would be able to handle it in a different way to a general member of the public. That's my theory.
Yeah, and the witches do tend to live a long time too in the books. Yeah, like Miss Treason is like 112, 113, something like that. That's right. Yeah, she's lies just a little bit older than you think. Yeah, and I think that's an extreme example.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. You got to say yeah again.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. Sure. And on that note, it's time for us to answer some questions. We have time traveled into the future where our audience has had time to write questions. And not just write questions, Liz, but deliver us parcels.
Yeah, so
what's happening here?
So in the break, Jeremy has given me something which I have not opened yet.
Okay, do you need some help? Because you got to hold the microphone with one hand.
All right.
You ready?
He's done a very good job of making this secure, and I respect it. All right, I'm going to come around the side, and I'm going to undo this knot later because I love undoing
great
knots.
Podcast content, how visible this is.
So it is in an envelope, and it looks knitted. I'm going to put my microphone down.
Okay. Pull it. Be careful. Okay.
I am being careful.
Ooh, is that a scarf?
Can you describe it?
Well, what I'm looking at, this is a beautiful scarf that is kind of pink, and what color is this? It's like a dark green, tealy green. This is beautiful. Oh, wow. It's a Dolly Sisters scarf.
From our Unseen Academicals.
Yes. Oh, we said on the show we wish there was actual Dolly Sisters merch. Is this? It's Dimwell. Oh, no.
Oh, no.
Oh, we're going to get kicked out now because we've misremembered the color. This is great. Yeah.
I love this. Thank you so much.
Yeah.
Yeah. I'm going to wear it for the rest of the episode.
It's great. Oh, can we have a round of applause to Jeremy? What a great scarf. There's real attention to detail. Like the stripes are the same size all the way along, and the tassels are both colors on the end. This is great.
I have done knitting, and I know how hard it is to make it so equally done. So I really appreciate the time that went into this. Thank you very much.
Nice work. It's reminding me of when I was a small boy, and my mum, who is not much of a knitter, nevertheless knitted me a Doctor Who scarf, which was look. I loved that scarf, and that's all we need to know about it. It was delightful.
No,
I wish I still had it, but wow, that's so cool. That's so cool. All right. Well, we've got some great questions
and some great comments as well. So thank you for participating. I should have said put your names on it. So I'm sorry that I cannot identify your handwriting.
Well, we did say put your name on it.
But I said it a bit late. So
I see.
yeah.
I see.
So
okay.
I take full responsibility for that.
Very good.
It is reminding me of school debating where we have all the little cards in front of us. So we're going to start with the pig trick theories.
Oh yes, we did ask Liz. What have we got?
We've got, I know this is not the pig trick as described, but I always thought of it as like the pig trick in Willow.
Oh, yes. The famous Willow pig trick, which is, I think they call it a pig in a blanket because he literally puts a pig in a blanket and makes it disappear. But it's not real magic. It's a stage illusion kind of thing.
All right. This one from Steve, this is a really great tease on here. Sorry, I just appreciate some good handwriting. So, pig trick theory. The pig squeals a tune. I love that, and that is not disturbing, so I especially love that.
Oh, yeah, okay. Yep.
All right, so we've categorized the questions a little bit. That's all of the pig theories. If anyone has a pig theory that they didn't feel like they wanted to write down but want to share with us in person later, I would love to hear it, and so would Ben, because he said he wants to have some nightmares.
Yes, that's true. That's true, and if you're listening to this at home, please send them in. If you're using social media, you can use the hashtag Pratchat, NAX.
All right, so some questions about the book. Do you think Tiffany may have been Terry's pride and joy, as she could be a culmination of all his witches? This question is from Leanne.
Oh, that is such a good question. She feels like she was a really beloved character of his. But a lot of people asked Rihanna when she was doing interviews about the book, is she meant to be you? And she said, well, there's a little bit of me in her, but I'm more Esk. Like Esk is more based on me than Tiffany is. But I think, there's a real love for her. And I think you can kind of think about it. She's got a lot of the best qualities of the other witches. Like, she's really stubborn, like every witch, actually, now that I think about it, which is fair enough. They know what's right. I think yes. What do you think?
I think so too, because there's a real warmth to her. Plus, we get to see her grow up and change and sort of knock some of the edges off her personality and also like bring in some grit that wasn't there before. So I think she's the one we've spent a lot of time in a different sort of time frame too in others. Like you see a lot of them as adults kind of already where they are. They develop, but you don't
slowly.
see. Yeah, exactly. So there's a different insight here and a different way for an author to spend time with a character. So I think that's part of it. Yeah.
And speaking as a comedy writer, when you create characters, you often can't really change them because it's partly what makes them work as a comedy character is the fixed parts of their nature that get them into trouble. And so you can't really have them overcome their burdens and overcome their difficulties that come from their own personality because you need those to fuel the jokes. I mean, that's particularly true in a format like a sitcom where you expect things to be the same every week. But I think, a lot of Pratchett's main characters don't change very much until you get into the more intense drama. But even someone like Sam Vimes, who does change and grow a bit over the books, kind of just emphasizes different traits that he already had rather than changing a lot. And I think having Tiffany grow up gave him a lot more permission, even though he's still writing comedy, to have her change as she goes along, which I think would be really liberating for someone who had otherwise only written adults as adults and short series of children's books where the children were always children.
All right. The next question comes from Molokov via real life and not Discord.
How delightful. Yes.
So unusual to say that.
Yes.
What's the best new fact in the book?
Oh, see, I was trying to figure this out when I was reading it because I actually... it's compiled from so many books, like figuring out which things are new. I know there's a couple of things they decided, like they gave the first Kelda a name. She didn't previously have a name. And they canonically make Jeffrey Swivel non-binary. And I think I really like that. Like, I think it's pretty clear from the bits I've read of The Shepherd's Crown that, there's a bit where Jeffrey talks about, I don't really think of myself as either, right? And so it's kind of talked about without what we would consider the more modern language. I kind of liked that. And I also liked, the context they give to weird facts. Like we talked about how Lettuce Earwig points out that, they've had women wizards in Krull for centuries. And I'm like, yeah, Terry never really addressed that. I mean, they don't really address it here except to go, it's a thing. And we know about it, but we're not really fitting it into the rest of the canon so that it makes sense. You just have to live with it. So I kind of like that. But I found it really hard to, apart from those specific things, to figure out what was brand new.
Mm.
Yeah. Because a lot of the things I looked up, I was like, oh, no, that is in a book. I just had forgotten it because it was like a real deep cut. But again, you know, I think that speaks to the care that they took in writing it, that they really, you know, they sliced up the books to the nth degree and went, what's the coolest bits that we could talk about? Yeah.
But it didn't feel labored at any point. It all fit naturally.
Yeah. Yeah.
Our next question also comes from Molokov via real life and not Discord.
Oh,
Can you imagine if you sent one in via Discord as well, though? That would be
that would be great. We should have asked. Yeah.
Anything mentioned in the book that didn't get a Paul Kidby illustration but really deserves one? Can I get in first with this?
Sure.
The snail purse.
Yeah, that's what I was going to say.
Yeah, that's why I wanted to get in
I want to
first.
see the Snail Hotel. Oh, man.
It's okay. We can do the next one.
Yeah, but that's 100% top of my list. I want to see the Snail Hotel. I want to, you know what? Next con?
All
I've
right.
got to build a snail hotel. Not real snails, though. That would be cruel.
Yeah. Do snails need a hotel if they like come with their own house?
It's a motel.
Okay. Yeah, but like in that scenario, they're Transformers.
It's a caravan park.
Okay. All right.
There we go. There we go. We did it. We got there. I got halfway.
How does the mannequin pissing Brussels compare to the illustration of the boy?
I've got to remind myself exactly what the gnome looks like. Let me.
Like I've seen the one in Brussels.
Have you? Well, like in person?
I think so, unless I've just like manifested that memory for some reason.
Oh, no, you know what? It looks a lot more like, you know that classic, I've forgotten the name of the person who wrote and illustrated it, but there's that book just called Gnomes, and there was an animated TV series based on it. It looks exactly like one of those gnomes, only he's facing away from you and having a tinkle.
Okay.
Yeah. So not much, I guess is the answer. But
I think they'd get
cute.
along.
Yeah. And it's also, it's kind of, because it's like a watercolor and it's like sort of sepia and it's in the corner of the page. Unless you were looking closely, I don't know that you'd realize that's what's going on. There he is.
Discreet.
Yeah.
All right.
But it's very cute and silly. I like it.
How would you sum up the book's approach to magic with a K versus, quote, traditional witchcraft?
Oh, that's a good question.
Not kindly.
No. No. It reminded me, so I feel like this should be on the drinking game for Pratchat anytime Ben talks about a role-playing game, but there's a role-playing game from the 90s called Mage the Ascension in which you play wizards, but you're in the modern day, and the whole idea of it is that the way magic works is reality is consensual. What everybody agrees is the way reality works. That's how it works. And so there used to be a lot of magic because everyone believed magic was real. And then in the Age of Reason, where people worked out that maybe it would be nicer if the world ran on rules that everybody could understand, that started to change. And so it became more difficult to work magic. But the people who still do it have these different traditions. And between editions of that game, they kept changing their mind about whether they wanted to spell magic with an extra K in order to differentiate it from the magic that everyone thinks they know. And then they found that pretentious, so they changed it for an edition. And then they found it wasn't pretentious enough, so they changed it back. So it always makes me think of that a little bit, even though it's not quite the same thing. But it's, yeah, I don't know. What do you think about it?
I feel like this book made me grow, I think, a little bit as a person. I had the attitude being like, oh, they're being a bit snooty about it, but it feels like it's a little bit of a different thing that does have value, but doesn't ever actually have the lens of the protagonist on it. So we sort of see it as a silly other thing. Like it's a bit, how do you spell brekkie? You have
but it's
very
not just
firm-
about the spelling.
I know, but
right?
like there's different auras to it. Like
Yeah.
BREAKY has a different vibe to double KIE and with a Y. Like I feel like we could divide ourselves along quite strong lines of how we spell brekkie, and it says something about us as people. And I feel
Sure.
the same about it here, but like how the book interprets it unkindly, I think.
Okay. All right.
But yeah, we'll do the brekkie thing
That
later.
is very brief.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. What's next?
What's your opinion on Mr. Kidby being an in-world character? This one comes from Molokov via real life and not Discord.
It is interesting because many of the characters talk about having their likeness painted by Mr. Kidby. I think it's delightful. I think there's so many pictures by him that it's about time he was canonical. And it gives them the excuse to do the great joke in the back where there's a illustration of each of the authors, including Terry Pratchett, on the back of the dust jacket, and the one of Paul Kidby is a very terrible line drawing by Rob Anybody, who is taking revenge because he doesn't like the way Paul Kidby draws him. Which is a great excuse, right? And you couldn't do that if Paul Kidby didn't exist in the Discworld. I mean, it does blur the lines a lot. Does that mean Rhianna Pratchat and Gabrielle Kent also exist in the Discworld? I don't know. Maybe they do.
And that leads quite nicely into this one, which comes from Wee Mad Arthur, who Absolutely Erased is also very heavily involved in My Gift of the Scarf.
Yes.
So last night, Rhianna Pratchat said that confirmed that there is a Douglas Adams Easter egg.
Oh, because I had a question about this.
Yep.
She wouldn't tell us what it was when we interviewed her.
Oh, well, when Wee Mad Arthur asked,
What?
She had an answer, and it was, don't forget your trowel.
Of course it's a pun.
Yeah.
Oh,
wonderful.
I can't believe they did that to me.
All
That's
right.
great. Thank you for finding that out.
Yep.
And reporting it back.
So this one is a question that we've had already answered, but I'd like to ask it again. What was
Yes.
your favorite new fact/lore from the book?
Yeah, we covered that. Who did?
But I wouldn't confirm, is the snail purse new?
Yeah, that's new.
Yeah.
That's a new gag.
Yeah.
So there's lots of little new jokes. Yeah, and that's a lot of the ways that the witch coven, like the younger witches, are advanced just a little bit. Like the way that they exclude Anagramma from their picture. Like that, all that
Good.
stuff is probably my
I'm sorry,
favorite.
but-
Actually, if we're revisiting that question, yeah.
All right. So these are some book adjacent questions.
Yeah.
What other bonus books would you like to see? So like a guide to,
Ooh.
yeah, this one also comes from, oh my God, thank you.
Wow, there's so many. That's a good question because we've seen a little bit of the similar thing that we've seen is like the diaries. You know, we covered the sort of amalgamations of those. I feel like we need the equivalent for wizards. Don't you reckon? Like Unseen Academicals gives us a bit of a glimpse of how it works, and the Unseen University diary is very mired in a very particular kind of university experience. But it doesn't really say much about how magic actually works, and
They would not write one, and if they wrote one, it would be to undercut anyone reading it. Like, it would not be a helpful guide. It would be like the how to get rid of a witch guide. It's like, this is the best way to be a wizard. Just do all this stuff that will make you not climb up the academic ladder.
Okay.
So I do not think they have a sense of camaraderie in that way. Or if they did, it would take a lot of time to get published because everyone would be like fighting over who gets to write it, fighting over, like, you have to do your like thesis defense version of a thing. Like, it would be a whole thing.
Yeah, okay.
And I do not know what the end product would look like, but I don't think it would be helpful.
I'm just thinking about a wizard's thesis defense, which I'm sure would involve some sort of fireball situation.
Yeah.
Like a
the
magic
actual
shield.
defense.
Yeah. I'm going to cast a magic shield. All right. Well, what do you think then? You can shoot my idea down. What do you reckon?
I don't know. You got to defend your idea.
No, I don't. No, I crumble at the first thing. No, but is part of your reasoning is you don't think the wizards would write it. So who would write a book like this on the Discworld? That's not Tiffany Aching. Dibbler.
Yeah.
How to get ahead without actually having any good ideas. Yeah, that's like
So that just from the audience, we got Dibbler.
Dibbler. Yeah.
Yeah.
Great.
All
Great
right.
suggestion.
All right.
I would like to see that.
Another question from this one comes from Steve, mainly for Ben. What would you keep in your man shed?
Oh, you could have a man shed too, Liz, if you want.
I think it would have a lot of sewing machines.
Yeah. Mine would just have a lot of board games and role-playing games because I don't really have room for them in my house.
Would it be tidy or would it be chaotic?
It would be pretty tidy. I would put shelves in and I would organize them all by game and publication year and author.
So chaotic.
Yeah, chaotic.
Not tidy
It'd be all
at
over
all.
the place. Yeah, that would be in there, and then probably a small podcast studio. Yeah, yeah. It's not a revelation, is it? It's like, oh yeah, Ben's nerd stuff would be in there. Yeah.
The next two questions I'm going to group together because they cover similar ground.
Okay,
So
yep.
there was talk of Petulia. Would you like to discuss other favorite witches or witch-adjacent characters?
Ooh.
And Rhianna and Gabrielle were asked their favorite witches. Which are yours? And did this book change how you feel about them?
Well, I mean, I already said this. It made me fall in love with Petulia more. She's just the best. But also, like, every witch really gets to be cool in here. I think Hilda Goatfounder was really great. Like, just to revisit her, you know? Like, there's a lot of, like, one-off characters who you're like, well, you don't need to see that person ever again, but they're really interesting. And because she feels a bit like a proto-Nanny Ogg kind of character, because she kind of occupies a similar kind of niche in witchcraft, it makes sense that we didn't meet her again. But, I think it was really nice to see her again, and I really like her. And I really like, I mean, all of Tiffany's mentors are great. They're all great. So I like all of them. Yeah, it was nice seeing them again.
I hate to give the obvious answer, but it has to be Nanny Ogg for me. Like, it's just every mention of her, every character that you find out, every like glimpse into her like youth that you get is just an absolute joy.
Yes.
So I could not get enough of Nanny Ogg. So
yes, but if anyone, if anybody is listening, please say that we said Granny Weatherwax.
All right, so we've got a few questions about the podcast and us. So is this pretty representative of how you normally record? So like in the same room, a couple of laptops, etc. This one comes from Rebecca Johnson.
Well, no, not anymore. So we used to do it like this, with in fact pretty much this exact gear.
And like 30 to 50 people watching.
Yeah, 30 to 50. We just invite them all into my kitchen. And no, we used to record mostly in my kitchen, around the kitchen table, using pretty much, this gear. These days, we rarely get together in person unless we're doing an episode about a board game, because then we want to get together and play it in person. We've done all the major board games. There is a really terrible looking Good Omens one that we may or may not do. We'll see. I don't really want to do it because I think it's not going to be good, and I don't really want to just trash a board game. In fact, 2 new board games were announced in November 2025, both supposedly coming this year. They're from Modiphius, the UK games company who currently holds a license to produce Discworld tabletop games and had a smash hit Kickstarter campaign for their new role-playing game, which is also supposed to be getting more books this year. The first of these games is Reader's Digested, a Discworld-themed version of the 20-year-old fantasy city rebuilding game Blue Moon City. The original was designed by beloved veteran game designer Rainer Knizia, whose prolific output makes him more or less the Terry Pratchett of board games, but there's no detail beyond the title about what the Discworld thing will be. The title might suggest the coming of magazines to the disc, or perhaps, as the original involves summoning dragons for assistance, it might be about rebuilding Ankh-Morpork after the events of Guards Guards. Reader's Digested was scheduled to enter crowdfunding on GameFound in the first quarter of 2026, according to the Modiphius press release, but as of the end of April, there's no sign. The other game, scheduled for the third quarter of this year, is Kill Sam Vimes, in which players are assassins taking on the doomed contract to, kill Sam Vimes. The premise makes it sound like the classic pre-Cluedo game Kill Dr. Lucky, published ages ago by Cheap Ass Games, but it's described as a card game in which you dodge Sam's fiendish traps. So it's not going to be a reskin of Kill Dr. Lucky, although I would play that. We're not sure when either of these will be available, but don't worry, I will be keeping an eye out and they will enter the Pratchat board game library and we will make an episode about them at some point. Yeah, we might. There's a couple other ways we might get together in person. But yeah, these days we mostly record remotely using an online recording platform, which is good in some ways and very annoying in others.
Yeah, I do miss the catching up social aspect of it that was in person, but it has made it easier to have guests that are outside of Melbourne.
Yes, that's been a big benefit of that, and it's much easier to schedule as well. So that's been a big benefit. But yeah, I like it when we get together in person every now and then. Yeah.
All right. The next question is, who has been the funniest / best / most silly guest? And who do you really want to be on the last episode? Who's your favorite guest, Ben? No,
don't ask me that. A lot of them are really good friends of mine.
Silliest guest? I mean, when we had Will Kostakis on, that was a fun time.
That was pretty riotous. See that first episode when we did, was it Dark Side of the Sun?
Yeah. And he and I both didn't enjoy it. And you were like a strong defender and we're both there being like, nah.
That was pretty great.
And also very early on, Pyramids, with Richard Mackenzie was quite a fun one. We were drinking some beers.
Yeah. We kind of banned that after that episode.
Yeah. Because it was like late at night, and I remember I went and got some jelly babies because it was appropriate for the thing. Yeah. And I went in there and I bought a 6-pack and jelly babies, and they asked to see my ID, and I'm like, I'm 30. And I'm buying because of jelly babies, I think.
Oh, that was it. Yeah, that was the tip off. I think, look, It's terrible, but one of my favorite moments of the entire podcast is still something from our first episode. And, and it's partly because it's a lovely memory of dear departed Carl Wilson. But when we were talking about Men at Arms and we were saying, they keep referring to Angwer as being undead. I said something like, I don't think werewolves are undead, are they? And you both said in unison, no, if anything, they're twice as alive. Which of course became the quote at the start of the episode, and we reused it for when we revisited that book. And I just, she's up there.
Yeah.
And it's especially special to me because it means we have a recording of her. Yeah.
Yeah. No, she was a great guest.
Yeah. Yeah. But I can't really pick a proper favorite though.
And who do you really want to be on the last episode?
I have a plan for the last episode that I am not willing to publicly divulge in case I can't make it work.
Okay.
But I do have a bit of a plan. But in terms of just a guest to discuss the last book, I have thought about it. I don't know. Who do you think we should have? I'm asking the live audience here. Who do you want to be on the show who hasn't been? Death?
Yeah.
Okay, well, I might get my wish and find out when I'm going to die.
Do you have a Ouija board?
No, I don't. No.
We'll get you a shed and then we can get you. It's not a board game.
Oh, there's two. That's right, and an egg. That's right. And some. Oh well. See, now I can only remember the video game version, so we also need some pixie dust and a very strong smell. And yeah.
And I have to throw an octopus into a toilet.
Yeah. No. Maybe that should be our guest for the. No, definitely not.
But the toilet or the octopus?
The octopus.
Okay.
No. Well, if you have ideas, I mean, we're running out of books and things. We don't often talk about this because it makes Liz upset. But we don't have many things left to discuss.
We don't talk about that. It makes me upset.
But they do keep announcing new books. I mean, there's going to be the bestiaries, so we'll be able to talk about that if we're still going by then, if we haven't finished. But I don't know. I have thought there's a few people we haven't had on who I would really love to get on. Someone put their hand up. Did you have a suggestion?
Have you talked to anyone who's never done any of the plays?
Ooh.
Oh. I mean, I've done some of the plays, and so has this man. So we haven't done an episode specifically about that, but that could be a fun bonus episode. Idea, we could. I'm sure Stephen Briggs would talk to us if we asked him. So yeah, would you like us to do an episode about the plays? I feel like we do one episode about all of them rather than trying to do them individually. But yeah, okay, we'll put that on the list. What's the next question, Liz?
Please, can we have another podcast after this one is finished? This is from Helen, but also from me.
Now, this is where the common usage of the word podcast gets in our way. Because do you mean another episode of this podcast right now? Because we can't fit that in the convention schedule. Or do you mean once we've finished talking about Terry Pratchett, we need to make another podcast talking about something else? Okay, or do you want us to just go back to the start and do Terry Pratchett again? That also works. That's very nice of you to say. We have discussed that kind of too. We have several times on the show promised that we would do at least an episode, if not a short run podcast about Diana Wynne Jones. And I do have, this might not be we haven't discussed it, but I do have an idea for a Douglas Adams podcast. So there's possibilities. And there's another podcast I want to make that wouldn't have to wait until we finish this because it would be a thing that I did. But there's, there could be another one.
Yeah. And
we don't know.
Films and television.
Yeah, and there could be films. There'll probably be more. You won't get rid of us entirely.
All right.
What else have we got, Liz?
All right. So we've got the final group of questions about the convention.
Oh, okay, great. We've got to answer these. But we've got to do it quickly because we're out of time.
Yeah. So Discworldcon 3 or 4 in person, what's the thing you love seeing the most?
Ooh.
The costumes and all of you.
Oh, yeah. All the costumes and creativity. Not just the costumes, but like all the little things that people make. All that, like, we got given, what did I do with them? We got given these stickers, which are amazing. We got, there's just, I've said this before whenever we come to a live con. But when I was a young fan, I got introduced to the world of like fan conventions and the whole subculture of fandom. And I just love it. Like it's people who love a thing and they're going to get together and celebrate a love of a thing. And that thing that we love is fictional, right? And I think there's something glorious in that I love and the way that people come together to celebrate that together. And it, and I think there's an extra dimension of it where we are saying his name. So I just love everything about it. But I do really like the costumes and the things that people make. But also just the silly stuff. Like we went to the tea duel today.
Yeah, and I did great.
You did. You smashed Richard at that. Yeah.
I did, yeah.
Yeah, it was great. What a great bit of silly nonsense. I love that. So yeah, I love all of it.
And I sort of rushed my answer before, and I know it sounds really dorky, but I really like coming here and just hanging out with a group of people who we all love the same thing. It is rare to have an experience like that. I hate that it's only every few years, but there isn't really anything like it. And this is now my third in-person one, and I think I now recognize more people than I don't recognize, which is so unusual and nice. Cause like you walk into a room, you're like, oh, I haven't seen, but it's just you pick up where you left off and it's great. So I don't want, like, it's hard for me to, with my sarcastic sounding voice to sound sincere. So I'm telling you I am sincere. There's nothing like it. And I really love spending time with you. So this has been great. I won't translate well to the audio ones. I'm sorry. I'm sure I'd love spending time with you listening, who I've never met. Yeah. Potentially. But,
yeah, we do. I mean,
please edit that out.
We should say, I won't. But I will. No, I will. I will if you want me to. But I'll say that I think we get a similar, we love the listening audience. If you're listening to this at home, thank you so much. I thank you every episode because I genuinely am grateful. We don't do this to go out into a vacuum. We do this for a lot of reasons, but one of them is to sort of, be part of that fanish culture. But it is an odd experience doing it through the medium of a podcast because you basically hear from a very tiny percentage of your whole audience. Some of them a lot, yes. Someone's patting Molokov on the shoulder there. But so when we get to come and do it with people in the same room, I feel much the same as you, Liz. I think it is really special. And I love it. Yeah.
So it's like what I love about the con is what I love about doing the podcast, which is the community.
Yeah.
I said it a lot of times, but like even when you get a note saying I listen to your podcast while I'm walking my dog, like that means a huge amount.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah.
All right. Final 2 questions.
All right. Let's hit it.
All right. A few times at this con, I've misheard hats as maps. What do you think the next map should be?
Ooh, like the next Discworld map? We do want to do an episode about those because there's been more than 4, but there's 4 main ones. So there's the Discworld, Ankh-Morpork, there's Death's Domain, and there's the Tourist Guide to Lanka. And then there's the Atlas and the bigger Ankh-Morpork map book. I mean, I don't know. I feel like they did a whole atlas of the whole place. It covers most of it, but it might be nice to zoom in. I would like a new map of Lanka. I think that's a really interesting place, and like the map that's on the board of the Witcher's board game, I really like. But I like that could be a good map. Yeah.
Do blueprints count as maps?
I'll count it.
I would like blueprints of all of the guilds. I'm not saying this as I'd want to be in the Thieves Guild and I'm going to go burgle them all, but I just think it'd be interesting to see what they look like on a up-close level. As someone who, when there's a map in a book, that's an absolute joy. I think I would really like the insight, especially into some of the guilds that didn't get their own book. So I think that's a way that we could get something from it without having a book. Like the Assassin's Guild, that'd be fascinating to see, I think.
That could be fun.
Clown Guild.
Yeah, you could put so many fun things into
Fool's
that.
Guild, sorry, not the Clown Guild.
But, yeah. Okay.
So yeah, and also just, I think I've said this on the podcast before, if you are ever reading a book that has a map and you want to refer to it, photocopy it, and it is available. You don't have to keep flicking to the front, and you can annotate it, and that's great. And you might already all do that, but that was a game changer for me, so.
I refer to it as the flux method because I heard it from you.
Well, I keep it in a plastic pocket as well so it doesn't get dirty when you take it with your book.
It's genius.
But yeah, anyway, so sorry, we're doing questions, not how to properly photocopy the map and carry it around when you're reading not one of these books. All right. Great. So honorable mention hats at the con. Mine has secret shelves for snacks. These may also help it pass the house falling on you quality check. I would very much like to see more of the hats at the con and all of these little tricks.
Yeah, I wish I had a cool witch's hat now.
You can next time.
Next time. I should get one with a secret compartment to hide a microphone in. That would be the way to do it.
Would that be effective though? Because you just hear the top of your head.
You'd have the microphone facing outward, Liz.
If you had a microphone that touches your head and it works on vibrations, then that could be something.
You could amplify your thoughts.
Sure.
You couldn't do that. That's not how microphones work. But that kind of brings us to the end. Everyone, thank you so much for coming along and being part of this episode. We normally use this moment to thank our guests and ask them what they want to plug. I think we just have to say thank you, not just to all of you attending here in the room, but to all the people who make this whole convention possible. Joanne, Steve, Danny, Kat, Catherine, Simon, Buff, Pog, everybody. I haven't got the full list of names in front of me. I'm just going with who I can remember. And I want to do a special shout out to Kurt and the tech team because I've been so busy and they needed to help us sort out the tech for this at pretty late notice, and they were very, very helpful. They did a great job. So big special thanks to them, but also everybody for making this possible. This has been fun.
Yeah, thank you.
I should do a plug for the convention because there will be another one. The next one's going to be in Melbourne.
Yeah.
I'm excited about that. I don't know if the theme has been decided yet. We probably traditionally we find out at the closing ceremony of the previous con, so I don't have any special knowledge about that. I'm not going to spoil anything. Oh yeah, look, should have thought that you would. Yes. But that'll be exciting. Now I do traditionally say what our next episode will be. We have had to delay our episode about the folklore of Discworld a couple of times, but that should be our episode for May, so watch out for that. We have a great guest storyteller, Ros Quinn, so I'm excited to do that one.
Excited and scared.
So do send us any questions you've got about the folklore of Discworld. But that's pretty much it. And listen, until next time, get a hat. You've been listening to Pratchat, the monthly Terry Pratchett Book Club podcast with Pratchatters Elizabeth Flux, Ben McKenzie, that's me, and guests, the attendees of Nullus Anxiety 10. This episode of Pratchat was recorded on the unceded lands of the Camaragon peoples of the Eora Nation. It was produced and edited by me, with music by David Ashton. We're on social media as Pratchat or Pratchat Podcast, and you can listen to past episodes and support the production of new ones via pratchatpodcast.com. Join the conversation for this episode using the hashtag PratchatNAX.
Pratchat is brought to you by Splendid Chaps Productions. We make entertainment for your ears, like the Doctor Who podcast Splendid Chaps and time travel comedy series Night Terrors. To find out more, visit splendidchaps.com.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much.
Is there anything anyone wants to say on a podcast before we pack this up?
Love you.
Oh, that's very kind. Oh, I wasn't fishing for that, but I'll take it. Thank you.